We'll open up the Q&A if you all don't mind. I think I wanted to know if this is the first time Ms. Han has seen the film with an audience and what her experience of it was.
Tôi cũng xin trả lời cũng thay mặt cho những người có hát tại Việt Nam nói chung và bản thân tôi thì tôi gửi lời cảm ơn chân thành sâu sắc nhất tới các tổ chức, tới các bạn nhân dân, chính phủ Mỹ cũng như nhân dân, và cảm ơn chân thành nhất tới tổ chức CARE và cũng như đoàn làm phim đã ghi lại cái hình ảnh cuộc sống của tôi để cho các bạn câu chuyện của tôi để các bạn cùng chia sẻ với tôi.
I take this chance as the only chance I can send my deepest thanks to CARE Vietnam, CARE US, other organizations that help me and people living with HIV in Vietnam. And for this SILVERDOCS, because this is a chance that I have my story told and recorded that I could never expect it for what I've done.
Tom, maybe you want to share with us how you found this story and the other two stories, just in terms of uncovering them before you began to make the film.
Sure. We did several months of research. Scott and I together, we looked at hundreds of stories of women around the world making a difference. And we wanted to find stories that we felt were topical and maybe not what you would expect. So we wanted to tell an HIV/AIDS story in Vietnam, the only country in Asia on the President's Emergency AIDS Relief Program. And same with Bosnia and Mali. We wanted to tell stories that you hadn't heard before. And so we went to each country about 4 or 5 months before shooting. We interviewed several women, and we tried to find women that we thought were amazing and that worked on multiple emotional levels so that we could weave those stories together and give you a real, true global scope of what's going on out there.
Now, I understand Dr. Johnson is a global ambassador for CARE, and Dr. Helene Gale is the president of CARE. How is CARE involved in the film, and will CARE be involved in the release of the film and the outreach for it?
Well, we are involved, but it's not a movie about CARE only, and it highlights CARE's programs, but it also highlights other international organizations that are working on this. And what we really wanted from this film was to be able to have a vehicle to get the issues more broadly about how what women's lives are like around the world, both the challenges but also the triumphs. So, we hope that this gives some visibility to the work that CARE does, and we have made focusing on women and girls our highest priority, because we believe that that's the way that you're going to have the most long-lasting change for whole communities. And so this is very much in keeping with who we are as an organization, but it's much broader than us as an organization. It really is to bring the issues of women around the world and to use these three incredible women to highlight that.
Yeah, I think more than anything is I travel all over the world with CARE. Helene and I travel together, and we do see the disparities that are going on globally. And I think when Scott Thigpen came to me with this idea, I thought it was absolutely terrific, because the thing of it is, even in my travels, there is another camera crew that would come with me, and we document our travels. And there's so many incredible stories out there, but I think what's really unique about these three, and when Scott brought these stories to me, these are also three countries, you have to understand, that are not on anyone's radar screen. Vietnam, there was the Vietnam War. And then once the war was over, no one thought about it anymore. Bosnia, there was a war there. No one thought about it anymore. Mali, they don't think about it. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. But in Vietnam and in Bosnia, there's an aftermath to war. And just like the war that we're going through now with Iraq, Afghanistan, everything that's going, there's going to be an aftermath. And unfortunately, that aftermath is going to be women. They're going to be the biggest victims of the wars. It's the women and the children. I mean, you see them in the refugee camps. And I think what is really terrific about this documentary is you saw the aftermath. Vietnam has a horrendous HIV problem. Bosnia, because of the genocide of the war of the men, there are no men around there. I mean, there are a few left. But these women really had to struggle to really recapture their lives and to be able to take care of their families. And in Mali, this one woman who wanted to really change the face of the sexual trafficking, prostitution, the day labor problems, that Madame Urbane took it on to really educate women. So you have 3 issues: health, education, and economic empowerment.
We can open it up to questions. My question is for Tom. As you decided to make this film, were you thinking about making a film about empowerment and social change, what some people call social entrepreneurs, or did you start out with the intention of making a film about women? And you made a film about women with some powerful women involved in the film. And can you talk a little bit about that as a man going into these places? And some of the stories are very, very difficult and challenging, some of the healthcare stories as well.
I think when we originally set out to make the film, we wanted to focus on the women's empowerment movement. We want people to understand that it's an international movement, it's important, it's real, it's making a difference. But most importantly, we wanted to make a film that didn't just tell you about what was going on, but got you emotionally involved with what was going on through 3 distinct women. And we wanted to show you what brought them to this stage in life, what keeps them going every day to face the obstacles that they face, and what aids them, what is it is inside of them that allows them to actually make a substantial change. So that was the film that we set out to make, was one that got you the knowledge, but also got you emotionally involved in what these women are doing. And obviously, I showed you how I got emotionally involved in, earlier in what these women are doing. So that was the film we wanted to make.
I spoke with Dr. Johnson before the festival and about other films and about documentary, and she's come to the documentary world just recently from a huge career in media. And I was interested, this film, the parts that are left out are there's a lot of painful background, and there's also a lot of hope in the film. And was this a conscious choice? Because I think one of the challenges of telling stories overseas, stories of development, is there's so much bad news. And what was your sort of thinking on the approach of this story and balancing the kind of the bad news background and the hopefulness of it?
Well, the thing that was very difficult in putting this together, and Scott and Tom were very generous in letting me really get involved with the editing and everything, was to really bring this story to life. Even though I've been traveling and actually working with women in all the communities, East Africa, Guatemala, Ecuador, there is a common thread, there's a common theme in all of this. Is everywhere I traveled, there are real problems there. There could be health problems, there's problems when women have got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go retrieve water so that they'll be able to cook and wash the next day, and some of them do not come back because they've either been raped or murdered. But everywhere I went, and this is what we were looking at, the raw footage of this, no matter what they were going through, you could see hope in their eyes. They were happy. They dealt with whatever the day-to-day circumstances they had to deal with, and they were going to make it work. And I think more than anything, that's what we wanted to tell in this documentary, that, and this is a lesson in life to all of us, no matter what our circumstances are, we have to make the best of it, and we have got to try and come to a solution of how we're going to solve our problems. In each one of these women, I see them as probably the most inspirational women I've ever met, because they were able to see a problem, they were able to work through it and try and come to a conclusion. And this is the way we wanted to roll this film out. You see the problems, and then also you see the hope and you see the success.